Hey, John, so tell my viewers about Calm. How did that get started?
Well, Calm actually started a little bit with the Essex, but really more back in 2000 when Mayor Jerry Brown proposed putting a Catholic cathedral on a big concrete pad over 12th Street. And so that's one thing that's what sort of coalesced the people who were together then, and that sort of coalesced that. And so many people, architects, designers, people like just activists and people like myself, say this is a really bad idea.
Yeah.
And as we went along, not only was we find out it was a bad idea, we found out that actually where 12th Street is parkland. If you look on the maps from 100 years ago, you'll see it called Peralta Park. But it's not just any old parkland. It was parkland that they had a bond measure back in 1907 where they raised money specifically to buy that piece of property and dedicate it as a park. So we had that, and then we also found out that the city. So it also came to light that the city could not just tell the Catholic Church, yeah, you can build a cathedral here.
Right.
They had to do an RFP. They had to open up the process. They had to open.
We're almost there. Come on, yo, Wimp. Everything's calling. Golly.
They had to open up the process they had to put out an RFP, a request for proposals, for some large project on that spot. That's where the 12 lanes is. It's the world's shortest
Folks,
freeway.
this is the top of the Cleveland, almost the top of the Cleveland. That's really the top of the Cleveland Cascades. So, and now we head down, but look at this. Incredible. Beautiful.
Yep. So, what Calm did was, we got together, there was a couple of architects that got together and designed what the rudiments, or the progenitor of the 12th Street plan that the city, which is going to remove traffic lanes there and reclaim some of the land as parkland and just make it much nicer. And so the city accepted that rather than the cathedral. And that sort of how we're going to pay for it was the next issue, and that's where Measure DD came from. It was, so you had all these projects. So that was the centerpiece of Measure DD, but it's really, Measure DD has projects all over Oakland, Studio One, East Oakland Sports Complex. There's all sorts of little projects that if you're a park person along the estuary and whatnot, that were Measure DD projects. And the only way that you could get Measure DD on the ballot was to get every council member get a project. Yeah. So fine, every council member got a project, and so that's how we ended up with all these great changes out here now. So that's where Calm started. That's how Calm.
Who's the chair of Calm, or is there such a thing?
It's not such a thing. We don't have meetings. We communicate by email. I mean, just this morning we were going back and forth about we're going to do a walk with the city next week to begin it's the first meeting on the view corridor study. We just kind of, it's ad hoc. It's truly ad hoc. I've got an email list of about 150 people. I've got a little blog that it's not really for
What's the address?
It's Lake Coalition blog spot, and it's really simple. It's not a conversational thing like a Better Oakland or Living in Oakland. It's just has information. It's very specific to the rezoning downtown and now for the view corridor study.
Does that mean you don't want conversation?
Well,
of course not.
Let's put it this way: nobody's conversing on it. I mean, it's been up for. It's got probably 30 posts on it.
I think that'll change after
And I really just send out. I send it out just to my email list, which is about 150 people, and say, here's what's going on now. I'll attach a staff report. I'll throw in a picture, and it's a little bit advocacy, but it's really just here's what Calm is doing on this issue now.
Well, I take that. I think what will happen is this will get a comment on my blogs and SF Gate, and but I don't read my comments anyway, so what the heck.
Well, I think
I only read my emails.
I've got like 35 posts on it. I think I've gotten 10 comments, and 3 of them were like robo comments from somebody trying to sell me Viagra or something like that.
Do you need it?
Were we going there? Were we going there on this?
You mentioned it. I don't know.
I'm just telling you about what somebody I don't know wrote to me.
All right. I'm gonna turn this on at 18th. Okay. All right. What were you saying, John?
Well, so we've walked along a little bit down Lakeshore, right?
Yeah.
And as we're walking along, you can see the Tribune Tower
Right here.
right next to the Essex. And in just a few steps,
obscured by it.
in a few steps,
Right there,
you're not
yeah.
going to be able to see it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, and so this is why we say in those gaps, right, those gaps are where, you know, when you put a building up, the views decrease.
Now, you said Cole Bruno beat you up about this?
Well, not
Michael Cole Bruno, the Planning Commission? What'd you do to the poor man, Michael?
No,
Sorry.
but yeah, right. He didn't beat us up, but it was obvious that he was not favorable to limiting heights along Lake Merritt. His view was that we need density downtown, that we need to, you know, that our development needs to be transit oriented, and but what he didn't get is that you can have both. You can preserve views of the lake, and you can have density downtown. I mean, those folks advocating for density downtown, if you go downtown and you look at the majority of the new development downtown has only been between 3 and 5 and 6 stories.
Yeah.
People have, you know, like you look at the Uptown,
Right.
The wonderful Uptown, it's 4 stories, right?
That's right.
So I understand the argument that people make about people want to live by the lake.
Mm-hmm.
It's an aesthetic argument,
Right.
And there is something about the beauty of the lake that transcends economic status, career.
Right.
It's beautiful to everybody. It touches everybody on a very basic level beyond politics. And so the argument is, what's the best way to enjoy it? Some people say that one of the best ways to enjoy it is get as many people living next to it and looking at it. It's beautiful for them.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other people that say, well, it's beautiful to more people than just those that can afford the condominiums. So
Right.
there's not a right or a wrong.
Right. I think some people also, there's that middle ground is, well, gee, it's a lake, it's like a beach, and therefore you can attract bigger development, which would then bring more money to the city.
Right.
You know.
So now you see, so this area down here where this person is sitting is one of the new seating areas that the city has installed as part
Right.
of Measure DD.
I miss the old bench, though.
And
There was a nice old bench, and they got like a piece of rock. What's that all about, you know? It's ridiculous.
yeah, you got a piece of rock with graffiti on it too, which they have to clean up regularly.
I
But the
miss the
point is
bench.
here, when you're looking into downtown, I mean, you still see downtown, but you don't see the Tribune Tower and you don't see
Right, they're
City
gone.
Hall
It's
from
gone.
here.
Right. They're both gone.
And so again, this is why we say the where those gaps do still exist are where we need to maintain them, because once they're gone, they're gone.
Yep. Yeah. Let's walk.
Okay.
I'm just filming the. It's pretty, very pretty, even with
Oh
this
yeah,
tarp.
it's great down here.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
great down here.
You say we're coming up on what?
So to the left of the Essex, and to the right of that condominium project there, which is it's 1555 Lakeshore.
Okay, let's stop. Okay.
You have an opening there, but actually, if we go,
I see that. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Now if we do what?
When we walk further along, what I call this is where that's where 17th Street intersects with Lakeside Drive.
Aha.
And so I call it, and that's probably the name that we'll give it, we'll call it the 17th Street View Corridor,
Okay.
because that's sort of convenient. That puts it on the map.
Okay.
So as we're walking along, you can see the views that begin, you know, that come into view.
Right.
The things that come into view there. And very soon, we're going to see the Tribune Tower
Okay.
comes into view there.
That's nice. Look at that. I like that.
Great.
That dang on rock. I hate that rock thing. Ah.
I've spent some time analyzing these views there, and so it would just take one building, and that whole view would be gone. It just takes one building, not just at 17th Street, but going all the way back to the Tribune Tower. If you can zoom in on it, and if you zoom in on it and you look down and you see the building that has, it's a beige building and then it has a brown horizontal stripe.
Yep, see it.
That's the Oakland Hotel.
That's a hotel?
Right. That is 140 feet tall there, which is not a bad height. Right. So, but you can see that if you put in a 180, so there is
that short little bitty thing.
No, the furthest.
Oh, further
building,
beyond it.
The very back one,
beyond it,
where it's got a beige building, got a row of windows.
That right there, I see it. I see it above it. Yeah, I got it. Yep.
That's 140 feet.
Okay.
That is at Alice and 14th Street.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you brought that same building up to Lakeshore, up to Lakeside, it would look like the Scottish Rite Temple.
I get
But because it's back that far, you get this rising line of sight. And so that's 140 feet. That's about 10 stories.
That's right.
That's a nice sized building.
Yeah. Let's walk over 18th.
So what you see into downtown here now is the way the heights are going to remain right at Lakeside Drive, right where the street where Lake Chalet is. The view corridor study, which is starting up now, will deal with regulating heights in the interior of the Central Business District,
and just see a picture
to the Tribune Tower and City Hall.
And that's Lakeside Drive there.
Correct.
And over here is Harrison, and then Grand is over there.
Right.
And Oakland Hills over there.
Yep.
So what's and that's the courthouse, and that's 1200 Lakeshore.
Yep.
All right. So closing. What do you have to say to people regarding this?
Well, I mean, I think that the efforts that we're putting into preserving these views right now is the right thing to do, and people will be glad that this gets done. You know, we could put a wall of condominiums there, and it would look beautiful to some people, but it would also, you know, cut off this visual heritage that we have, which we feel like is just as important to a vital community. And we can have all the density, we can have all the transit stuff, but we don't have to block our views to do it.